And welcome back. So my guest now is a sales representative in the Toronto real estate market, and he's from Royal LePage, Your Community Realty, and it is Shawn Zigelstein. And Shawn, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Shawn, one of the things that I'm hoping that you and I can talk about today, of course, is there was an announcement that the Toronto area real estate market is off to a pretty good start this year. And since you're on the ground and running every day, I thought I'd bring you on and get your take on it. What is happening in the market right now?
Well, I really do appreciate it. And, yes, the market, we're in seasonal market right now. We are in the January, February type of market, so the winter type of typical market seasonal activity that we've seen in years past. I think we're now starting to see a little bit more. So we are starting to see that little bit of a dip in the winter market, not in a necessarily a price standpoint, but from a volume standpoint. So, our numbers this past month in January were up over January of 2018, but it was a minimal increase. And I think that's a good sign because what it shows is stability in the marketplace. It shows that what we're seeing is people still looking, people are still wanting to buy properties, and really what they're doing is looking at the product, making sure it's the right one for them, and then purchasing at that point.
One of the things that I think is a positive note, though, is that we've got more listings on this year at this time than we did last year. And I think that gives, the buyers a little bit more selection, maybe not the same heat thinking multiple offers, because I think we got to such a heated point at, a couple of years ago that people just got scared out of the marketplace. But now, with a little bit more inventory, a little bit more selection.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. I think with more selection, of course, gives more choice. And with more choice, then the sellers can actually put their properties on the market and be specific on, what they're, listing at. But at the same time, it's a little bit in the buyer's control that they've got those choices to make over last year. And I think last year was a very interesting market at the beginning of 2018 with new mortgage regulations that were put into place, as well as just different thoughts on the market, we'll call it, that buyers and sellers both had because they were used to 2017 and they had to get used to that. And I think now 2017 is gone, and so that influx of all the buyers that were coming and running into the multiple offer situations like you were talking about, they're not in the market as much as they were. We are still seeing some multiple offers, especially down in the city core, but once we get out into the suburbs, we're not seeing it as often.
Let's talk a couple of different price points because, I've always thought that there is a cycle to real estate. You have your first-time home buyer, then you have your first-time home seller, then that creates your move-up buyer, and then you have a move-up seller, or you have a seller that's downsizing because they've gone to their final home and now they're going to downsize to get out of it. Let's start off with our first-time home buyer market. Of course, very much driven by the condominium market, especially in the Toronto core area. That's been a big part of it. Are we seeing consistency here? Are we seeing that, that market is staying steady and busy?
Oh, definitely. Look, the condo market in the city, while it has slowed, I would say, a little bit, and that, again, is probably more seasonal than anything else, that is where first-time home buyers are able to purchase property. They can't afford to go buy a detached home in the city core. So they're, of course, looking for condominiums, low type of price point that they can get into and live in and figure it would be a 3 to 5 year move. What I always call it is the domino effect, right? So if people are buying those units, then, of course, those units have to go on sale more often, and then people can move up, just like you said, to those next steps, whether it's a town or a semi and then up to a detached. So we do have that domino effect that takes place, and we do know that the market has been fueled by the condo market over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it seems like that kind of overtook what normally was one of the hotter parts of the market, which was, as you mentioned, towns, semis, and detached. Something worth note, though, is that they believe that the detached market this year is probably going to be the one that will lag behind the most, that the condominium market is probably going to be the strongest, though that could be the pent-up demand of first-time home buyers coming into the market for the first time. So, of course, brand new construction. We'll see some major projects that are going to start closing, so people are going to take ownership. Might see some more rental properties come into the market. But if we talk about the detached market, this was normally the part of the market that we could really watch the spring cycle. We started seeing the open houses pop up right about now. I mean, the weather's been a little bit restrictive, obviously, but now we start seeing open house signs pop up. We start seeing the spring market, and of course, when we start thinking of detached homes, we think of families, and families, of course, focus on moving in the summer because we normally are worried about the school year. Do you think that we're going to see, our standard spring market where we start seeing more of the detached, or for that matter, townhomes and semis come in?
I think you're going to see a lot of everything hit the market. That's my gut feeling at this point. Just from the action that we're seeing on our listings out there and the product that is moving, I think we still will get a lot of new listings that are going to hit the market. And I think the new listing numbers, once they start to come out, once we get through the spring, I think will be up over last year. The question will be is whether or not the buyers are willing to start buying at that point as well. I do agree that I think that the condo market will still continue to fuel the growth, especially with all of these new projects that will be closing and coming into the marketplace. And I think detached are very interesting because detached over year, we are seeing decreases in the 416 area. The 905 area is basically flat, but we are seeing a lot of product that's just not selling outside of the city core. So when we're getting that into positioning, I think we'll see a little bit of a downward effect on those prices of the high-end detached homes, simply because of the fact that those move-up buyers aren't necessarily jumping as quickly as the sellers would hope they would be.
Shawn, if our listeners want to reach out to you, where is the best place for them to reach you?
So the best place to find me is they can take a look at our website. So it's www.teamzold.com, and they can hit the Contact Us button, and we'll reach out to them as soon as they reach out to us.
Shawn, thanks so much for joining us. It's a great pleasure, and hopefully we'll get back in touch with you in the spring, and we can kind of test the market at that time.
Enjoy your weekend, and have a great day.
Folks, that was Shawn Zigelstein, and he's from Royal LePage, Your Community Realty, and